You would never expect a basketball game to change your life. Yet there I was, sitting under the blinding lights of an American stadium, pretending the pounding in my chest came from the cheering crowd and not from the man sitting right next to me, Coach Ryan. To the rest of the world, he was just a rising star in the college basketball circuit, a man with enough authority to command a team and enough charm to silence a room. To me, he was trouble wrapped in a smile, the kind of trouble that keeps you awake at night, wondering if you should ruin or fall deeper. The first time he asked me to a game, I thought it was nothing. Coaches invite students all the time, right? But the way he leaned against the locker room door that afternoon, his voice low and personal, felt different. Come watch tonight's game with me. Not in the crowd, not in the student section, sit next to me. I want you there. I laughed nervously, brushing it off. But something in his eyes told me there was more beneath the surface. And I went. The stadium was alive that night. The air smelled of popcorn and sweat, sneakers squeaking on polished wood, whistles piercing through the roar of fans. But all I could focus on was him. Ryan sat close, his shoulder brushing against mine every time he leaned forward to yell at the players. His hand resting just a little too long on my knee when he wanted my attention. See number 12? He whispered, his lips close to my ear, warm breath sending shivers down my neck. That's the move we practiced yesterday. Watch how he pivots. I nodded, pretending to follow, but the truth was, I couldn't care less about the pivot. I was too distracted by the fact that my heart was betraying me, beating for a man I had no right to want. After the game ended, he didn't let me go home. He drove me himself, his car filled with the faint smell of cologne and leather. The city lights blurred past as we sat in silence, and then, at a red light, he finally spoke. You looked good out there, he said. I frowned. I wasn't playing. He smirked, turning his head just enough for me to catch the playful glint in his eyes. Didn't need to. You had me distracted the whole time. That was the moment everything shifted. I wanted to laugh it off, push the words aside as a joke. But my stomach flipped, and my body betrayed me again, heat flooding my face, my palms sweating against the seat. I didn't know whether to open the door and run or stay and find out what would happen next. Ryan, I started, my voice barely audible. But he cut me off. Don't. Just don't. Okay? Not yet. You don't have to say anything. The rest of the drive was a blur. By the time he dropped me off, my head was spinning, and I couldn't sleep that night. Because deep down, I already knew this wasn't just about basketball anymore. The next few weeks were a balancing act, him carefully playing the role of coach in front of everyone else, me trying to ignore the way his eyes lingered too long during practice, the way his hands sometimes found mine when the gym was empty. It was dangerous, forbidden, but it was also intoxicating. And then came the night he couldn't hide it anymore. We were alone in the gym after practice, the squeak of sneakers long gone, only the echo of bouncing balls fading into silence. He was showing me a move, his hands guiding my arms, his chest pressed against my back. I could feel his heartbeat racing just as fast as mine. When I turned my head, his lips were right there. It wasn't a kiss at first, just a breath shared between two people who had run out of excuses. But then it happened, soft, desperate, and terrifyingly perfect. The kind of kiss that ruins you for anyone else. We pulled apart too quickly, both of us stunned. This is wrong, I whispered. I know, he said, his voice breaking, but it feels so right. That night, I walked home in the rain, my clothes sticking to my skin, my heart torn between fear and something dangerously close to love. Because secrets don't stay secrets forever. And ours was about to cost us everything. Secrets have a way of slipping through cracks, no matter how tightly you try to hold them. For weeks, Ryan and I lived in stolen moments, the soft brush of hands under a cafeteria table, lingering stares across the court, and quiet nights when he drove me to the edge of town just so we could talk without fear. Every second felt dangerous, but every second also felt alive. Then, one night, everything collapsed. It started with whispers. A teammate claimed he saw Ryan's hand on my back a little too long, that his eyes followed me differently than the rest. Rumors spread fast in a college locker room, and soon they weren't just rumors, they were knives. Why does the coach care so much about you? one of the guys asked, cornering me near the showers. You got something going with him? His laugh was sharp, but his eyes searched for the truth. I denied it, of course. I lied through my teeth. But the seed was planted and it grew like wildfire. Ryan called me into his office 2 days later. His jaw was tight, his eyes darker than I'd ever seen them. They're talking, he said. His voice cracked slightly, betraying the calm mask he tried to wear. If this gets out, I lose everything. The team, my career, hell, my name. And what about me? I snapped before I could stop myself. You think I don't feel it? The stares, the questions, the weight of pretending I don't. My voice broke, the rest of the sentence lost in the heavy air between us. He looked at me then, really looked. You think I don't want to scream it out loud? That I don't want everyone to know how much I... He stopped himself, biting down on the words as if they would burn us both. The silence was suffocating. I turned to leave, but his hand caught mine. For a moment, the world shrank down to the warmth of his fingers and the ache in his eyes. I don't care anymore, he whispered. Not if it means losing you. But life wasn't so simple. The rumors reached the athletic director. A meeting was called. Ryan faced suspension, investigation, disgrace. I watched him sit there in that sterile office, shoulders squared, every ounce of him a man ready to fight for what mattered. When they questioned me, I froze. I could lie, deny everything, save him. Or I could tell the truth, knowing it would ruin us both. My voice shook, but I spoke anyway. Yes, I love him. The room went silent. Ryan's head snapped toward me, eyes wide, 1,000 emotions flashing all at once: fear, pride, heartbreak, relief. The fallout was brutal. Whispers turned to shouts. Friends I thought I had avoided me. Strangers pointed. Ryan was told to step down for the season. And me? I felt like I had detonated my entire life with one confession. For days, I didn't hear from him. The absence hollowed me out. I thought maybe I had pushed too far, cost him too much. Maybe love wasn't strong enough to survive the fire. Then, one night, there was a knock at my door. I opened it to find him standing there in the rain, drenched and shaking. He didn't speak, didn't ask. He just pulled me into his arms like a man who had been drowning and finally found air. I don't care what they say, he whispered against my hair. I can lose basketball. I can lose the respect of the world, but I can't lose you. Tears burned my eyes as I clutched him back. But what if we can't make it through this? He pulled back just enough to look at me, his hand cupping my cheek. Then at least we'll fall together. It wasn't easy. The weeks that followed were filled with tension, whispers, and cold stares. But we walked through it side by side. The storm tested us, but it also forged something stronger. The day of the championship game arrived without him on the bench. He wasn't allowed to coach, but he showed up anyway, standing in the shadows of the bleachers. His eyes found mine, and in that moment nothing else mattered. I played harder than I ever had in my life, not for the scoreboard, but for him. Every point was a silent promise. I see you. I fight for you. I love you. When the final buzzer sounded, victory roaring through the stadium, I didn't run to my teammates. I ran to him, cameras flashing, voices shouting, the world watching. None of it mattered. I grabbed him by the collar, pulled him close, and kissed him. It wasn't careful or hidden. It was raw, messy, and real. The kind of kiss that said, "This is us. This is the truth. And we're not ashamed anymore." The world didn't end. Some gasped, some cheered, some turned away. But in that chaos, I realized something powerful. Love isn't a secret to be ashamed of. It's a story to be lived, no matter who's watching. Months later, the storm quieted. The school reinstated Ryan. The whispers dulled. And though some doors closed, others opened. We were still together, stronger than ever. Sometimes, late at night, we'd sit on those same bleachers where it all began, shoulders touching, laughter echoing across the empty court. Funny, he'd say, nudging me gently. All this started with just one game. And I'd smile, leaning into him, knowing the truth he never needed to say out loud. That game didn't just change the score, changed everything. Because real love always finds a way to survive. Thank you for listening. If you find it interesting, please like and subscribe to follow the next stories.